All right, we're running.
Yeah, just the temperature.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not right.
Smackers with an intro.
All right, welcome back. The boys are just kicking it. We're out here in Poblado, and we got our boy Gringo Jax in the house, and we're gonna be talking some content. My man just hit 85K on the gram, and couple. What do you have? What's your highest? 10 mil? 10 mil view?
10 million. Hopefully about to hit 11 million.
Oh, okay, 11 million. So that's a good intro of what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about some content. Just kind of, obviously, you're watching this. We're creating content. We are officially content creators.
Let's go. That was a fire intro.
Yeah.
You're getting better, dude.
At this point, you are a content creator. You literally.
100%. I mean, we're creating content right now.
You literally put this together.
Yeah. I always think people should just label themselves as something because they're like, oh, I don't know at what point I became an engineer, or I became like this, or a business person, or an entrepreneur. So just fucking call yourself that. As long as you're doing it and not just a scrub,
Yeah.
just call yourself that.
I like multiple labels, right? I think some people, they get too caught up in the labels. They're like, oh, I'm an insurance agent, and then that becomes like you would associate yourself with some nerdy 55-year-old white guy. No, I'm a fucking Jack 55, not 55-year-old insurance agent that does content, and I invest in real estate. I'm an entrepreneur. Many things. I wear many hats.
Yeah. I think it kind of just breaks normies' minds because you're like, well, I do content, I do real estate, I do insurance, and they're like, whoa, I barely even do my job. How the hell are you doing it? And so the normie is like breaking their brain trying to figure it out. So you're like, I'm an insurance guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
But those are that's almost just like if you ever hear me tell somebody that I'm an insurance agent, that means I'm trying to end the conversation. You know what I mean? Basically, that's what you're saying. You're like, oh, you don't want to actually know more about me, and I don't really want to know more about you, so I'm going to give you the generalization of what you think I am, so we can continue the conversation, so I can basically slide out.
Yeah, actually, it kind of reminds me of my roommate. He pointed out this bad habit. He's like, if you don't see value in something in 2 minutes of talking to them, you'll just go catatonic. I'm like, fuck, I got to be better about that.
But do you though?
You kind of have to make a value call because some people, they're sneaky, right? They have a lot of value, but they're just not good at presenting themselves. Right. So it's if you stay in the conversation, it's kind of it's tough. It's really a tough call. It's every person because you don't want to waste your time if you're at an event and there are tons of people there. You don't want to waste your time with someone that's not going to bring value to your life. At the end of the day, relationships, for better or for worse, are value exchange. Yeah. We didn't see any value in each other, we wouldn't hang out.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be people look at it very maniacally, but I think it's so normal.
It's people think oh, you have to have money to be valuable to somebody else. No, not at all. I don't care about any of your guys' net worths or anything like that. I obviously understand that you understand how money works and understand the marketplace and things cost money. Yeah. But I don't care. Just we were talking, women don't care how much money you have. No. They just care that you have fun, right? Yeah. They just think that it exists. The money exists. That's just the entry to the world. So I don't know. Do you have it?
Yeah, money is kind of the ultimate resolver, right? You get super sick, boom, you need money to solve that. Oh, you had a problem with your apartment, some pipe burst, and the landlord's being terrible. Okay, money needs to solve that. So it's you need a foundation of money. I would say if we go with the health, wealth, relationship sphere, it's first things, if you got cancer and you're dying in a bed, you got to solve that first. Yeah. That's the number one. Then it's money, and then I would say male relationships should come first, and then it's female relationships. So somebody has to bring value.
Yeah, but it's been, I think, switched on a lot of realms in that. We're putting not only money in most people's opinion is first, right? That's God, and people don't even understand why it's God. You know what I mean? Because they're being tricked into believing that they need X, Y, and Z. But then secondly, then the relationship of men and women is second, and then health is last. No, health, and then male relationships, which male relationships is it's changed my life. Yeah. So being able to even create content, if you're creating content, and I tried creating content for years, and when I was just with my girlfriend, and I'm just talking to a camera by myself. Yeah. It's this is just I wouldn't listen to me, dude. I wouldn't take this guy's advice. This guy's a nerd. Yeah, he has some money and he has a girlfriend, but it's what else is he doing? You have to be an attractive character, yet we all want to have fun with our friends. Like that's like at the root of it. Like we just want to go back to being 12-year-old kids just fucking around with our boys.
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
And if we can have some resources and some skills and some capabilities along the way on top of it, game over.
That's the best thing. So to talk about the content, I think this is why the personal brand has become so like ubiquitous, and so is people want to be paid for being themselves and being like living their cool life and just showing that. Sometimes tougher. I know Seb and you guys do it, but would you talk a little bit about like the value of a personal brand, how you can get paid to be yourself and just show that on the internet?
I think it's tricky territory now because, and I'm sure that you're aware of this too, is that there's a lot of people who are showing a lot of things, but they're not actually generating value. There still has to be like a line being moved for other people for it to make sense. And so building a personal brand, like the basis of it is just awareness, having people know you and have eyeballs on you. But what you do with that is what allows you to profit. And most people, and like I'll go through seasons of it where we have like an offer or something that we're sending out that it's like, okay, now it's like it's printing and it's making a lot of value for people and things are moving. But then there's other periods where it's like you're just sharing like motivation or lifestyle or whatever. That's cool, but it's still not making people's lives better. And to the degree you actually move the needle for someone's life is the degree you'll make money. So the personal brand in itself isn't necessarily the money maker, but it facilitates the opportunity to make money as you get in front of more people, right? And the way I always frame it is like personal brand is just reputation at scale. Like before we were in an online world, our brand was our reputation amongst a community. And our new community is the global community. But people don't understand that like if you just stay in your isolated little group, you're just gonna stay there, but they're looking through the internet, see all these things, blah, 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 all these like amazing lives that they want. Those were accomplished because they leveraged community at scale through the digital platforms. And so if you just become a person who serves a bigger community, it actually makes a difference on top of them knowing you, then you'll profit. But people just don't know how to do that part. That's like the critical part that's really missing for a lot of people. Because you can get yourself into the party, but if you're like that dude who has a lot of value but doesn't make it fucking known, the people who are actually moving and shaking don't know shit, and they're just gonna turn and burn. It's like, you're weird, I don't know, like, I don't get value from you because I don't fucking know who you are, what you do, I'm out. And you just lost an opportunity. So it's kind of like the closed mouths don't get fed, but you still have to know how to move the lever for people when you do have the eyeballs on you. And that's really a big piece. It's a nuance.
And I think, I mean, obviously I'm sorry from like, well, personal brand, like you said, it's just at scale now is online, but like most people are trying to create personal brands before they actually even have served anybody anything. So like,
which is valid. Yeah. It's good to build a foundation, but yeah.
It's like they're trying to create an aura about them to attract people versus like, we're not attracted to you at all yet. You need to just come to us and say, hey, I know who you are. I know this person, right? This individual, and I know the problem that you're dealing with. These are the solutions that I have for you. So like, that's basically what I did, knocking on doors, and like, that was my reputation. So John, yesterday, heard me. I got a referral yesterday for 2 new clients. You know what I mean? Like all my business comes from my reputation, but it's not really necessarily from online, but it was still from actually serving an individual. Obviously, it can be done at scale now, but like I didn't start out having any value to offer anybody. And right now, like I'm in a position where I can kind of play the personal brand game a little bit longer because the other business was already built on a different type of foundation. And it's funny, one of my clients who's like 70 years old, so all my clients are in their 60s and 70s, literally called me and she's like, oh, I've been seeing all your TikToks. And I'm like, oh, like I don't even know. I'm like, honestly, I don't even know what I post on TikTok. John posts everything. And she's like, oh, it's really like good informational financial stuff. She goes, I'm too late in the game for me, but like I've been sending a lot of it to my grandchildren. I'm like, oh, that's funny. But it's like,
oh, Mabel, let's get you a content killer.
But yeah, Mabel.
Mabel,
no,
let's get you
her name is
famous.
Patricia. But yeah, but like, I don't know. I think but it's still even that in that sense, like some of my clients found me on TikTok. I'm like, oh my god, what are you like? They're 70-some years old.
It's passive relationship building, but you have to become someone first. And I think the point you're talking about is really crucial for people to understand who are starting or who have the aspirations to start the personal brand. There's nothing wrong with starting it early, but you're not going to have the leverage to close deals like others who have built a lot of rapport and maybe drop something viral that like they know the market fit. Yeah. They can hit something and it goes crazy right away because have spent the time in the market, but it's like a ground up thing. And the way that I've started to see like the social game that comes with personal branding is like when you start, you're like outside of the in crowd. You're kind of like coming up to a fenced fortress of like there's an empire, there's like a community on the other side of the thing. And like when you have no clout, no reputation, you have to convince the first person to let you in the party, right? And then when like you get let into the party, now people will have eyeballs on you, but they're gonna watch to see if you deliver.
Yeah.
And then once the crowd now, from a first like one-to-one, you like negotiate with the first person to like give you an opportunity, like a job maybe. You convince someone to fucking hire you like to stock shelves or some shit. Now you're in a space where there's eyeballs on you. They're gonna watch how you perform, and then if you perform well, the group who already has some power or some status will open further doors and then facilitate your ascent if you play the game correctly in the mind of the community. And brand is like this too. Like when you open a brand new page, it's like you're fucking nobody. You got 0 followers, no one fucks with you, your content sucks, you look like shit online, maybe you're fucking like fat, unhealthy, you don't even know how to speak it, whatever the fuck it is, right? You're just busted, right? But you might have like 1 follower who's watching, and then you just like do that one thing, or you show that evidence like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna be successful, and then you like have that one win. Someone's like cosigns. Yeah. Then now that person turns into 2, and then 4, and then whatever, and it multiplies like that.
The most important piece of this, more than anything, is like all of the substantial growth and like actual connections are made are actually offline, right? Like John,
we met offline. We met like kind of online.
Yeah, we met
behind closed doors, right?
Yeah, we met like you can meet people online, but like the reason why we were able to meet online or whatever and scale it because we've already met with other people offline that gave us clout. Not even clout, but just like I gave him the check mark, right? I co-signed. So like John, you know, because he is with us in person, I've met a lot of these people in person, if not that specific person in person. One of the people that they know, I've met in person and they, you know, they co-sign or whatever. So in turn, anytime John posts something now, like it's not just like, oh, John's, you know, some random guy in Nigeria that does some videos for me that I've never actually met, but he, you know, but he's actually with us, and
he is actually with us.
yeah, he's with us. He's here. He's here.
Yeah.
We're cutting him in. We're cutting him in. No,
We're working on it.
yeah. But it's like, but it's so true. It's like, you know, to really understand like how social media works is like, yes, there's a social media aspect of it, but like the true connections, like I'm not gonna just like co-sign for somebody that like I actually haven't met in real life, right? Or at least somebody that I know truly and has vouched for them and met them in real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is the hybrid. This is like, and again, you're familiar with this, like the new world idea or a state where it's like it's online, but like in real life simultaneously, and it's the understanding of the hybrid, how they play together. And I agree with that entirely. That the in real life meetings are what supercharge the online opportunity, but doing both in tandem it facilitates the speed, and it also allows you the opportunity to take advantage of what happens in real life. Like when you meet, you have a private conversation, boom, now you take that value, you take that information, you take that opportunity online, and you blow it up, and then someone else notices it and be like, yo, we got a link. You go for dinner, you go to a meeting, you go to a party, whatever. You got business partners, you get dates, relationships, cosigns, sponsors, all these things. But then it's always gonna, like, it starts the conversation and it's fueling the conversation, but like to do them both together is what now the new world is. I don't think a lot of people really understand how to play both sides.
So we were talking, so like, you know, small talk, right, is like sometimes for people like us is not the easiest to do, but when you're posting consistently online, like I don't even post that much on like my main like profile, Instagram and Facebook, but like most people don't follow the other YouTube and TikTok accounts that have like everything going on, but I still post like kind of as things are happening to the main accounts. And then like, even though I don't, you know, like I don't even have like crazy following, but like my stories still get like 600, maybe 700 views every story post. And like, I was telling John before, like, if you don't like my posts or something like that, like I have no idea what's, you know, that you've watched my stuff, but like, then you come up to me in real life and like, you know, everything that's been happening, you know, so like it does kind of like give them something to talk about.
I often view content as very little downside aside from time investment, because if your content sucks, nobody's going to see it. Yeah. And if your content rocks, everyone's going to see it. It's the ultimate lead nurture sequence. You're going to meet a bunch of cool people. Yeah. Just keep posting.
There's literally, I think, really any major downside other than heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? So like there is 100% some truth to the bigger and more attention you get, even that 1% of people that hate you, hate is such a powerful tool that 1% can tear you down. Like I literally watched.
They'll find all of your weak points, all of your buttons.
Bro, I listened to a podcast today from Joe Rogan. He had this, I can't remember, Bill Walters or something, and he's like one of the most successful gamblers of all time. He's like 78 years old now, and he got put in prison for 31 months for insider trading, but like after he kind of like explained what happened, like there's no way this dude actually was an inside trader, like completely railroaded this dude because they just didn't like him because he was a gambler, had like these ties to him and stuff like that, because he was like the most famous gambler that like took down all these like big institutions and stuff, and they just wanted him to they had it out, so it's like there is most certainly Ty talks about this a lot. It's like the prince and the king, and like envy is the strongest like power a human can possess. And if somebody has envy against you, like they'll go above and beyond to take you down, right? So we have to be very careful when we present ourselves to the world to not like
to attract conflict.
You don't want to like I know obviously. To get attention, you can be very polarizing, but the world is not polarizing. So like, I know my jump to fame or whatever is not going to be meteoric, because I'm just not that type of guy. Like I'm just not going to be very polarizing in one direction or not. But I don't know. I guess it's.
There's a phrase, you have to be cognizant of what the normie can take. So there might be truths that we all know, and then you just can't say them online. Yeah. Or like there's certain things that are third rails. There's an Overton window, which is this is acceptable left position, this is acceptable right position. You have to kind of keep things in here. Now there can be situations that shift the Overton window, but in terms of hate, honestly, like I don't do any controversial stuff because I'm a comedian. But when I see hate comments, I'm like, oh, thank God. We're going viral, baby. We're going viral. See, like 8 of my maybe 12 videos that have hit like millions of views, all hate, love it.
But in your scenario, like you said, like you don't talk a lot in your videos.
No.
Right? So like them hating is not going to be like, oh, we need to take this guy down. It's like, hey, I'm insecure. I don't like this dude's blue eyes, and I don't want him like, posting some shit into my feed. You know what I mean? Like that's basically just them being mad.
Yeah, or they just like don't like the jokes. My old ex-girlfriend, she used to get hammered online by people. I felt bad for her, to be honest. But like people, what they'll do is they'll even point out like physical characteristics. So we're talking about like your ideas getting shot down, which is one thing. It's like people start talking about like your facial structure, and you're like, I don't know how to change that for you. So it depends on the kind of hate. But yeah, we're talking more about like the cancel culture. For me, it's more like, man, they just don't like how you look.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't know. I think I'd be more okay with them not liking my looks because, like, well, here's the thing. Like, the beliefs, that somebody has that's, like, going to attack your beliefs, like, if they're not going to have a rational discussion, then you can't really even combat it at all. Like, a look can be completely subjective. You'd be like, all right, well, you're saying whatever. Like, that's completely your opinion. That's fine. But, like, when somebody has an opinion that's, like, completely different than your belief, and they're completely wrong, but then, like, we often talk about this, John's like, okay, what's the objective of this debate that we're having, right? If the objective is to find the truth, okay, let's have an open discussion. But if the discussion that we're having is to confirm your belief, then what do you want me to do? Yeah. I can't have we can't have a conversation. Like what I'm not like we. Like,
you just say, yeah, you're right, and you bounce.
You got it. And what? Yeah. And what? Right?
Yeah, and what? I think also to your point, the comedy side, it's easy, or it's like not easier, but it's like you won't attract someone trying to like debase you.
Yes,
right.
I can always say it's a joke account.
Yeah, and that gives you like the pass. You can kind of Aikido it, whatever. On your side, I think what you're speaking about is when you actually take a stance for something, and then you show a certain amount of like success or affluence, you start to get better and you start to get ahead of people, which will start to, in some minds, develop that envy that actually, correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about dangerous envy, right?
Absolutely.
So this is what happens when we actually take a stance for something and truly share like a meteoric rise that other people can be envious of and believe on some level that they should have it and you should not, which incentivizes that danger element, which comes as a cost for your pursuit or whatever it is you're doing. Because if you are going to go to create massive social status, Tate's a great example. There's others who have done similarly. You'll get death threats, you'll get all these kind of things, and that's something that you have to account for, but you'll never be able to sustain it unless the reason for doing it is bigger than your own self-satisfaction. And to even get to a point where you can sustain so much hate, you have to care so much about what outcome is at stake for you to even go that far that you're like, fuck it. Like if this is the cost I gotta pay, you'll do it, and that's the emperor's price, right? The heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like it's the perpetual threat that someone is going to come and debase you because they want your position, and it's scary. It's truly a scary position to be in if you get to that place and you have those eyes. Like Trump, for example, there's like an innumerable amount of people who want him dead, probably.
Innumerable.
Like,
yeah.
And I say probably because I don't know. Like,
We're not in
a lot of people will say some shit, but are they actually going to kill Trump? I don't know. But like at that scale, someone probably would if they had the opportunity. They're so cheesed up about the stance.
Even for let's say you have 500,000 followers, and you can think, what percentage of the population is just psycho?
Oh yeah.
And then you're just like, okay, well, what percentage of that population, like, Dan Coe had a girl send a screenshot of his house to him, and he was like, yeah, I'm not going to talk about my family anymore online. Sorry. Like, people have too much time on their hands.
Literally, I think it is about, it's like 1% of the population is like diagnostically, psychopaths, right? So yeah, if you have a lot of people, like at the smallest scale, dude, I think this video got like 500 views. Somebody literally just commented on one of my shorts, and it was like a 15-second video talking about why we all seek, basically status within the community, right? That's all we as humans want. We want to be part of a community. We want to achieve higher status within that community, right? So I was talking about how a mother with a bunch of children, being a soccer mom, who all have vans and care about safety and protection for their kids, she shows up to the soccer mom meeting in an F8 Spider, right? That's actually going to lower her status to that specific community, and like that's all the video was, like me saying that. And some guy in the video like justifies for like a whole paragraph of why expensive cars are like so dumb. It's going to cause you to get robbed more quickly. Nobody should have them. You're never going to actually race it and all this stuff. And I'm just like, so I just answered. I was just like, forever humans will always desire something that's scarce and in demand. ... And most of the time, it's not for logical reasons. Right? So I'm just trying to so when you come back to okay, well, what's the higher thing that's above you? It's like, I'm trying to spread better thinking, right? Like at the end of the day, because that's just a bad thought, because that thought is not true. Yeah. So I don't want to fight with people or anything. Like when I make these videos, at the end of the day, what am I trying to do? Well, I'm trying to create a better way to think about things. I'm not telling you your way is right or wrong, but I want more people to understand how their thoughts affect themselves, to have better ways of thinking, right? So when it comes down to okay, it's bigger than me. Yeah, well, it's bigger than me because when people have bad thoughts, that's what creates a lot of the harm in the world, right? When you think like that and you see somebody outside in the world, they have something that you have now created this thought in your brain that there's no reason you should ever have this thing, and I see somebody with this thing, that guy's bad. Because my belief is you should never have that, right? So I'm trying to just okay, what's the main goal that we can have a better, stance on things? Okay, yeah, most of the things that you will see in the world are not logical. That's fine, but you should understand that, and don't have your belief to say nobody should ever have this thing, So it was just, but and that's at a small scale. Imagine you have millions of views, some of these views, there's thousands of comments. Just couldn't even imagine, you know?
Another thing is, for like short form content, tweeting, any kinds of things, you really can't talk with nuance. One, because it's boring. If you're like, well, in this case, or if the sun was in this direction, it's like, no, it's just take a fucking stance.
Extremes.
And if you ever take a stance, someone's gonna be mad.
Yeah, this was the law that I was mentioning, the law of heuristic escalation. To the degree that you take a stance in one direction is the degree that the opposite will manifest. And the more you spread, the more tension there will be on the other side. That guy took a hard stance on, we don't fuck with this is blah, 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 blah. And you manifested as the balancing act to bring him back to center. And ultimately, what we're all looking for is the return to center, objectivity, which I think is what you're looking to inspire in the public, is more objective thinking, not biased on emotional like spectrum, just like, oh, this is the one thing, and it's like, well, what about this side? And you bring them back to objectivity, which makes better decision making, which is natural law. Yeah,
we're all trying to have a society that makes better decisions, right?
Yeah.
You know, and
or at least make better decisions in a society that makes bad decisions.
Yeah.
So we're going to be a short discussion tonight. Just wanted to kick it, want to touch base with you guys. Is there anything that you wanted to, like, what was insightful that you've noticed within the past couple months, or anything when you've really ramped up the content? Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing, if I have to like coach someone on making content, one, it's try to find out who you want to be speaking to, because if you're speaking to everyone, you're actually speaking to nobody. And then it's finding people that are already speaking to that audience. So find, like, I think I asked you last night, like, who are the 3 accounts you really see yourself emulating? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like, I'm Dan Coe to a T, I'm going to talk about one-person business and philosophy. It's like, hey, I maybe mix and match, but you're largely focused on a specific area. So we're finding out what kind of content is already hitting. And then we see how our experiences have done that. Maybe we did start, we're doing insurance stuff, and we're saying, here's how I did an insurance agency. But we're also looking at the people that are already successful talking online about insurance. So find the people you emulate. And then once you start getting product market fit, like, I created content in English, wasn't all that good. I found out Gringo comedy works really well, and I was just like, I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna hammer it until it doesn't work anymore, and then I'll pivot to something else. I've seen a few guys, Arlen Moore being one of them, who started a YouTube channel taking pictures of like college parties. And now he's like a business coach. So it's like, as long as you're developing the skills of like content creation and you're finding your niche, you can always re-pivot to something else. It's like, oh, hey, I'm not in college anymore, so I'm not doing college parties. Like, now I'm a business coach, or like, now I do like
the eyeballs are the hardest things to get, right? You can get the eyeballs, and and you're genuine about getting the eyeballs. Like, maybe you'll lose some people. Yeah. Okay, you still have a lot of the eyeballs.
Well, this goes back to what you're saying about having multi-labels, not a single label. When you make it about you and not the fucking niche, you have the opportunity to grow with the audience. You have the opportunity to, try new things, go from one thing to the other, college to business, insurance to lifestyle, whatever it is, because they're not following the niche, they're following the person. And that's what the real personal brand is. Like, your family's not going to, maybe some of them might, they're not going to like disown you because you change careers. You know what I mean? It's because they're following you, not the job.
Yeah.
And that's the personal brand thing.
Well, Jackson's done really well with this. Like, yeah, you're in a niche of, Gringo Spanish humor, but like, you're still you. So like, the people are still like, well, he could probably just do anything. I'd still like be entertained by him, right?
And you follow the thread too. Like, your audience will, like, as you said, you'll hit it until it doesn't work. If you become sentient of what you're doing, you'll learn from the audience and be like, there's actually information here that's going to align with the next best thing that you get to pull from that audience, and then take that energy, that resource, and then step up to the next level and use it for something. Or maybe it never changes. Like,
so number one piece of advice, just start. Pivot, adjust. This whole game of life is a whole bunch of experiments, right? And then you pivot, you adjust, you try again, baby. Yeah. So find the people that want to do it with you. Come back. Maybe you'll be kicking it with us next time. Peace.
Wow.